Here's a final run. The current leader, the animal, Shaun! The backside 10 gone down in a half-pipe contest. Only a couple times, and he's very really the only person to do it. Frontside 1080, jab 1080, frontside 9, backside 9, backside 1080.
Well, the thing for me is I want to do really well this year just because the previous year was so amazing that, I mean, not winning a couple contests this year was just going to be this total slump. And I mean, I've got this magnifying glass. I mean, so whatever I do, it's just kind of like, you know, I got second at an event, and they're like, man, Shaun's having this slump year, you know what I mean? And I'm like, geez, like, I've entered 4 contests this year for halfpipe. I've won 3 of them, and I got second in the other one. And I mean, I think it's a great year.
Hey, Shaun, what's with the new nickname?
I had all this kind of like nickname hype after the Olympics, and nobody ever really called me that nickname. It was this weird thing that the guy just started yelling on the mic, and it never really, I was like, what are you talking about? And then I just signed with Red Bull, and those guys are amazing. And what they did is they picked us up in Denver on this private plane, took me home and to see my family, and then they picked us up at my local airport in like these helicopters and took us up past LA. And we landed at the airport, and there's this Russian fighter plane, this Russian Meg, like some Top Gun style stuff, and we got in there, and the guy's pulling loops, doing the G's, you know, the forces, and it's really intense. I had a friend of mine call me, and he's like, man, I did that. You know, I went in the plane, I passed out because the G's take the blood from your head. He passed out, and he passed out at 5 G's. So I was like, you gotta pull 6, you know. And we're pulling these 6 G's, doing these loops, and my pilot's like making these noises, flexing, you know, to keep the blood up. I'm laughing in the back. I'm like, ah, this is sick. I'm laughing and yelling, and he's like, you're an animal, like this is crazy. And so, like, you know, Top Gun, everybody gets a nickname, so he nicknamed me Animal.
Invented women's snowboarding. Straight up, she just goes huge. Stratton, I want to hear you beat the banners for Kelly Clark! Huge frontside end to get things kicked off. Look at the speed, look at the amplitude she's carrying down. Right into that lofty frontside 5.
I must have superpowers. Rap 200.
Look at the amplitude pushing. Biggest pairs of the day right here from the women's side, for sure. There's the front side flash to the Caballero. Making her way down. Come on, you know, I always say amplitude is the hardest trick. If everyone could do it, they would. But Kelly Clark has it in spades. If you ask me, that was the best run I've seen so far. I'm not a judge, though. For the Olympic silver medalist from 2006, Gretchen Bleiler. Check out the speed leading into that first hit, the crippler. Now picking out the method. She's going to have to step up her game to be Kelly Clark here today. Frontside 540. Right into the backside air. Frontside 9. Losing a little bit of speed on the frontside 9. One last hit for Gretchen.
I know when we started snowboarding, I think we were the only girl in our pack of guy friends, I think. And now it's pretty common to see a lot of young girls getting into it.
Actually, all 3 of us, I think, all have our different strengths, and it just goes to show now that the girls aren't throwing the same run every time someone comes down the halfpipe. It's something totally different. And I think that's what's making women's snowboarding so much fun.